One of the most important features of the AVer Pen set is being able to monitor and generate reports based on the results and progress of your students. Within AVer Plus, you can see individual or group results and even compare different classes of students. Before starting though, we need to set up the software so we know which answer is from which pen. The first screen you see when you open the management tool is the pen management menu. Here is where you can see which pen number corresponds to the appropriate pen. Here's a quick tip. If you forget to label the pens initially, now's a great time to do so. Click the query button and then match up the button signal pattern on screen with the corresponding student pen. This will make identifying pens to students very simple. Now that the pens are numbered correctly, you need to assign them to a group of students. Click on the second tab for class management. As you can see, it starts completely blank, so the first thing we need to do is add our class. Click the plus sign at the bottom left and then enter the class name. For our example, we'll say we have a 4th grade class, so I'll type that into the box. Now that we've entered our class, all we need to do now is click the plus sign on the top right, next to student management, and then enter the pen number, then the student associated to it, and then any extra comments you wish to add. There is no limit on how many students can be associated to a single pen, so you are free to make your groups as large or as small as desired. That's it for setting up your student pens. You can always go back to the management tool if you decide to change the groups up with different pens. Now you can move on and start quizzing your class. Now we're going to show you a quick way to use the teaching resources you already have to leverage the group response system built into the AVer Plus software. Here I have a traditional book of questions used in a math class. I've opened the book to the page of questions I want to ask my students. I align that page directly below my AVerMedia document camera and zoom into the question I want to discuss with the class. Quizzing my students is now as simple as a couple of clicks. Using my teacher pen from anywhere in the classroom, I can simply click the GRS button, then I select my class from the top drop-down list. If I forget this step, then my student answers won't be tracked, so always remember this part. I see that all 4 of my student groups are now lit and properly activated. Next, I set that the question is a multiple choice question and then how many answer choices there are, which in this case is 4. The last thing to cover before starting your quiz is more for show than anything, but it's setting the answer indicator and the countdown. The countdown lets you have a 5-second countdown before the quiz begins. The answer indicator lets you know as your students enter their answers. We'll leave both on their defaults for our purposes. Now that we're done, let's click Start and let the fun begin. You can control how long or short the quiz lasts, and you can see with the indicator how many students have answered thus far. Students are allowed to change their answers up to the end. When all have answered, click Stop to end the quiz. So here we can see all the students' answers. There's a gold, silver, and bronze star next to the first, second, and third quickest answers. Now we can all discuss everyone's answers and how they got them. Assuming we want to monitor these results, click the Save and Close button, and then we can continue to our next lesson. You now know how to get answers from your students from books under the document camera. But what if you want to create your own questions and answers? The process is just as simple. By using the Edit Vote Page tool under the GRS menu, we can create as many questions as desired. I just type in the question in the question box, and then I input the answers directly below. Once the question and answers are done, you can configure some more options on the right-hand side of the Edit Vote page. For the first row, click on the Anonymous icon if you do not want your students' names to be shown next to their answers. Click the Display Name icon if you do. The second row should be toggled if you have a true or false question, or if it's a multiple choice. There's also this pull-down menu which allows you to change from a single correct answer to multiple correct answers. The last options are for the student indicator, which is the icon that shows you how many students have answered the question. Click on the icon if you wish to change it. And then if you wish to have a 5-second countdown before the quiz begins, you can checkmark that box. Click on the balloon as there are several types of countdown animations offered. Now that we're done creating our question, we can click OK, and we'll see our question and answers set up on the screen. So we have our question all set up, but let's add an image to spice things up. I simply launch my resource library, grab an image, and pull it onto the desktop. So everything's looking pretty nice now. Let's get these kids' brains working. I start the quiz the same way I did using the worksheet, by just clicking on the GRS icon in my toolbar. I make sure my 4th grade class is listed in the dropdown. As you can see, the additional questions are already grayed out since we answered those during the Edit Vote page before. So all we have to do is click Start, and voila, the quiz is started. The results show up the same, with the students' names in the column since we selected to not be anonymous. I can also click on pie or bar to see their answers in a different manner. We discuss together, and then when I'm done, I click Save and Close to close the voting results and save it into my class management tool for future reporting.